Okay, but let's begin with Jim Harbaugh. He's left Michigan. He'll take over for the Chargers with Justin Herbert and company. We go right to Adam Schefter. How did this come together?
Well, Laura, I think the Los Angeles Chargers were the most aggressive team in pursuit of the Michigan football coach, Jim Harbaugh. The Falcons also had some interest, and they were scheduled to interview Jim Harbaugh today. But the fact of the matter is, once Harbaugh got into that building and began meeting with the Chargers a couple of days ago, they really never let him leave. And I think there was a part of this that appealed to Jim in the sense that the last team that he played quarterback for was the San Diego Chargers. So he knew the Spanos family. There was some type of sentimental pull. And let's be honest, in the end, ultimately, from a business standpoint, the Chargers made it worthwhile for him to not leave the building and not take the trip to Atlanta, where the Falcons could have gotten serious with Jim Harbaugh. Instead, he stays with the Chargers and reaches agreement on a 5-year deal that brings immediate star power to the Chargers franchise.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. Can't wait to see what he's capable of. And Adam Harbaugh will be tasked with turning around a Chargers team that went 5-12 this season. The good news for LA is that he's done it in each of his previous 4 head coaching jobs. That includes his tenure with the 49ers when Harbaugh took over a team that went 6-10 in the previous season and immediately led them to 3 straight NFC championship games. He has won, and at the end of the day, that's what people care the most about, right? RC, what do you think about the fit of Harbaugh with the Chargers?
I mean, who has it better than him? When you look at Jim Harbaugh, everywhere he's gone, as you just illustrated, Laura, he's turned places around. You think about Stanford, you go back to San Francisco, what he was able to accomplish with both Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick, and obviously what he did at Michigan, winning a championship with J.J. McCarthy at the helm. He's now taking over a team that's going to have the best quarterback he's coached since coaching Andrew Luck at Stanford. And Jim Harbaugh understands how to get teams to play for him, and he also understands how to put quarterbacks in the best possible position to succeed. I think this is a slam dunk of an hire, not because it's a fit, not because the pieces look like something that Jim Harbaugh can work with. It's because the man can flat out coach. I do not know if coaching is genetic, but if it is, the folks in that house have it in their genes. From Pops to Jim to John, all of them are winners. And so if you can hire one of them, you better do it sooner than later. And obviously the Chargers understood that and never let him out of the building.
Yeah, RC, for me, we all agree that Justin Herbert is top 5 quarterback talent, but talent doesn't get you into that top 5 when it comes to perception. And stats have placed him into that in some capacity, but wins haven't. And that's been the thing that everyone has wanted to, I guess, happen with Herbert is win. And your statistics are only so good. And I think he now has a coach that will allow those wins to come. If we think about Herbert's career, he's got 22 losses since he's come into the NFL and by single possessions. And Coach Harbaugh is such a good coach, he's going to get rid of that. I mean, the reality is he's the most talented quarterback he's had, to your point, since Andrew. And he's taken quarterbacks like Alex Smith that had high expectations, and he's had them win. He's taken quarterbacks like Colin Kaepernick that had a unique skill set and won. And he's taken a quarterback like J.J. McCarthy, who was this super talented, highly recruited kid, and won. Herbert is now going to finally get a coach that not only is going to continue to pad those stats in a positive way, but finally get him the wins to get into that conversation of the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allens, Lamar Jacksons, Joe Burrows when it comes to unreal talent, but also a guy who wins in the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll have a summer and a spring to talk about, obviously, the X's and O's part, and I can't wait to hear from D.O. what he needs to do with Justin Herbert. My thing is, for all of the stuff that we've heard about Jim Harbaugh, all of the things that he dealt with at Michigan, the one thing that stood out to me when they said that they hired him is, regardless of all of that, the players love him. They love playing for him, and you can tell. And his coaches love coaching with him. He has that personality. I remember a couple years ago, I think I was still covering college a few years ago when they took a trip overseas, and he was with the team, and he talked about that experience at Michigan. He brought Michigan to a place to beat Ohio State. There's a certain belief that comes along with Jim Harbaugh as well. You have to be able to coach. You have to have that part and that in your DNA. But the fact that these players ride for him, if you looked at the reaction from the Michigan players when he was suspended just this year, talking about how much they cared about him, how much he was involved, how much they wanted to win because of Jim Harbaugh. I think that still has a place on every level in football, and believe it or not, more so in the NFL. Two things you have to have as a head coach. You got to have the pulse of your football team, and they have to trust you beyond the football field. And I think he's been able to do that at every place he's been, and that says a lot about a winning culture.
Yeah, having covered the Michigan team in the college football playoff, I can tell you that's very real, how much they love Harbaugh, and you don't talk to a Michigan player who doesn't enjoy playing